Hello, everyone. Fun fact, you do not have to have a title to be a leader. You do not have to be called the CEO or the boss to be a very good leader. And today we'll be talking about that topic. My name is Ginika Okoro, and welcome to Be Kindled. On this channel, I talk about conscious leadership, I talk about identity, and elegant transitions. On this episode, I want to talk about how can you lead beyond the title? How can you be a good leader when you do not have positional authority? So sit tight and watch till the end of the video because I have something that will benefit you. If you haven't subscribed, let's not do this. Subscribe, share, and give it to as many people as possible because I want us to build a community of people that are leading from a place of service and consciousness. See you in the video. Okay, like I said, you don't have to have a title to be a good leader. But we find that people respond easily when there's a title attached to your name because with it comes some form of, retribution, carrot and stick. If you don't do this, I will do this because you have the power to do it. But it tells me something that you probably lack influence if you're using only your position to lead. There are 4 ways you can influence someone. And this is scientifically proven. The first one is through positional authority, which we talked about, or I'm talking about. The second is through emotion, understanding how to get to people's hearts. The third one is through your expertise. You are an expert in that area, for instance. You get some influence. And the fourth one has to do with human connection. So you are able to connect with this person, understand their body language, and you use it to your advantage, whether positively or negatively. These are all psychologically proven to be able to influence someone, And the truth is, whether you are a boss, not a boss, you should have 2 or more of these 4 things. And today I'm going to talk about how you can wield authority or influence, not authority, influence, even though you are not leading from the top. There are some people that you stay in a room with them, they are quiet, they're not saying anything, but everybody's chatting, but the minute they talk, everybody just, the energy of the room just shifts towards them. They have influence. They understand human connection. They understand the human psyche. They understand the emotion. They know how to steady their voices. They know how to be measured in their responses. They understand it and they wield it. But they may not be the richest person in the room. They may not even be the host if it's a party. But they understand it. And that, for me, is influence. We live in a digital age. And with digital age, everybody is an influencer. But they're influencing in different ways. So today I'm going to be talking about how to influence without authority. Picture this. You're a project leader. You've been asked to deal with a situation, whether it's at work or any place you find yourself, having to step up. And you can't do it alone. You have to walk through people. They are not directly accountable to you. You have to, tell them why this is important for them to join your group. Sometimes you're even leading volunteers. You too, you're a volunteer, but you're leading volunteers. Or you're even not a volunteer, you're full-time, but the people you need to do the work with you are volunteers. What is at stake for them is very minimal. How do you help them? And how do you ensure that the project doesn't suffer and they get to do what you need them to do? That's what we're talking about today. So without much ado, I'll be listing a few things. And I'm hoping that you can get 1 or 2 things from it. The first thing for me is if you find yourself in that position, the cardinal rule of people do not want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. It applies in every situation, including and most especially this one, when you don't have the authority. So before you start, dishing out people, do this, don't do this, doing a board or an Excel sheet, or if you're a Scrum Master, before you do all that, Find out about the people you're leading. Talk to them, be human with them. And I promise you, they might be skeptical at first, but authenticity always shines through. And be genuine about it. Ask about them. What do they like? What are their interests? Why are they interested in this project? Is this something, they may have been given to you, but you need to work through them. And for some situations where they are not given to you, you have to source them out. You have to be a salesman. And with salesmen, they have sweet mouths. How do you get into their heart and get their buy-in? That is what is paramount. And the big thing is, show them that you care. People will not care what you know unless they know that you care. That starts with listening to their fears, listening to their concerns, listening to their suggestions. They have nothing to lose if they say they're not doing. You have everything to lose. So listen and then hear what they are not saying, because that is the opportunity to get their hearts. This is one way of getting people to do what you want to do. One is positional authority. Remember, second is emotion. Get into their hearts, build that trust. Listen to what their needs are. And the second thing I'll talk about is ask questions. Be curious. Ask questions. Do your research. Find out. The reason you're doing this is you're asking questions from them to know where they are in their knowledge gap, but also know what you do not know about that thing that you need to solve, that project you need to do. Ask questions, and in asking questions, you will then know who do you need to leverage, who has this strength, who is able to do this, whose interest is in this area. That will be their point of entry in terms of getting their heart. Ask questions, be curious about them. Listen more than you speak, That's the second thing. The third thing I would say is be involved. Many times you find that people will create a Kanban or create a project sheet. They are not inside. They've just shared the work to people and they are now the gods that are saying, no, what is your role? Define your role in that moment and let them know that if this is the issue of come to me, I'm going to take up this one. It doesn't even have to be something big. It could be something you do easily. But let them see that you have a stake in the game. What it does is that they know that they are in this together. They know that this one is not my yoga, so why is it not working? Why is it not working? So they know that you have stake in it as well. So get involved. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your time where your mouth is and do something. So when you're sharing the job and the responsibilities, put your name there. It's a way of showing leadership instead of sharing it to everyone. Yeah. The other thing is give credit. Give credit loudly and give credit boldly. If people do things, say, oh, this thing this person did was great. Celebrate them. And then you take responsibility when the thing is not working. It shows that you're a good leader. It shows that you're accountable. And people will trust you more, when they see that. I know situations where the leader would, when she's holding her people account, this is a female leader. You want to talk about her people? No, she will defend them. Behind the back, she'll come and tell them, oh, what's going on? Do you want to form my hand? Do you get? If you're not Nigerian, form my hand means, do you want to embarrass me? What are you doing? She'll call them to book. But guess what? Because they know that she did not shame them in front, they guard her. They make sure that she's covered. And so when she holds them accountable, that thing, they'll try not to repeat it again. They try not to repeat it. So it's important that you are fair, but you take responsibility when things go down. The other thing I'll talk about is check your ego. The biggest downfall, especially when there's no authority, is your ego. If it wasn't for, I wouldn't, in that moment, think of servant leadership. Think of you leading with empathy, with humility. Check your ego. They should be able to give you feedback and you will not feel sore. And even if you feel sore because you're a human being, you check yourself, you bring yourself, under subjection and check your emotion. Because the truth is, the danger is if you show up and flare up, you've lost them. It means that you're not emotionally intelligent. But if you're measured, you're composed, it gives a certain level of respect. So check your ego. Let people be able to give you feedback when I don't think this is... First of all, you're not their boss. So remember that. And so when they're giving you feedback, be humble to receive it. Be humble to take what are they saying, what are they not saying, and then course correct. So check your ego. The other thing I would say is that involve them. Involve them in what you're doing. So you have this vision, this is what we want to do. Find out how can we do it. You can set the direction of what, but let it be a communal thing of how. It may not be that you will do everything they've said, but what it does is that it gets their buy-in, it gets their commitment. It shows that you're listening to them, and so they are more sold to doing it. Remember, these are your peers, and they probably either your peers or your subordinates, but they are not directly responsible. You're not directly responsible for them. They don't report to you, so you want their, commitment into this. So that's very important. And I would say the last thing is, how do you show up? Oh, not the last thing. Last but one. I'll come to the last thing. How do you show your expertise? Show your expertise loudly. And you show it especially in moments when, you've seen that everyone is at a, dead end. It's a stalemate in this situation. Nobody knows what to do. That's the opportunity to now say, oh, okay, let's do it this way. Don't be shy to show your expertise, because believe it or not, they'll be like, okay, this person knows what they are talking about. There was once, I'm going to give an analogy. I was partnering someone who, she wasn't sure why. First of all, I was given to her I was her business partner, HR partner, and she wasn't sure about my competence. I just come in, it took a long while for me to now be, to get her buy-in. But one thing that happened is, I'll be in the room, I'm quiet, I'm listening. She wasn't even involving me in anything. But I was listening because I knew that one day my expertise will be needed. Interestingly, we were at a board meeting and she asked about something. Nobody knew it. And I told her, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. That was the beginning of our partnership. I partnered her for a long time after that. And even afterwards, it was as if, why did you go? But that was the beginning, because in that moment, I showed up. I'm like, this is what you do. This is the response you get. XYZ. Show your expertise. It doesn't mean you are proud. In that moment, they need a leader. They need someone that is an expert. Show them that it's you. That way you gain their trust. You also gain their respect, which is what you want. Lastly, but definitely not the least, how do you show up in crisis? Are you measured? Are you composed? See, your composure, when there's crisis, it tells a lot about your maturity, your emotional maturity. In a situation where everyone is running helter-skelter, they are looking, in that moment, maybe they had not looked to you for leadership before. They are like, because who is this person? But in that moment, they will come to you, because here is you that gathered us here. Remember Moses and the Israelites? Why did you bring us here? You brought us here to, die? No. But what did Moses do? He was composed. I went to God. He says, see what they are saying. God said, yeah, do this. Your composure in that moment tells your leadership, your maturity, and it gains you respect. So you may not be their leader in terms of the authority, but in that moment, you show them that, see, this is what we do. And you may be freaking out, but you are composed, you are measured, you are bringing the sanity in the room, you're listening to what they are saying, and then you are bold enough to go, and if there's somebody you need to address, clear the road for them so things work. You are doing it. In that moment, I promise you, you are gaining respect. So that's it. If you want to influence people beyond title, do a few of these things, and I'm sure that you will be able to turn the tide to your favor. The beautiful thing about title, and I'll stop here, is that they fade. And if you lean on a title to lead, it becomes your identity. And when it's stripped off you, or you have to leave that situation, you forget who you are. So even when you have a title, lead as if you don't have a title. It is the most lasting way to gain influence. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this episode. The question is, how do you lead? Which of these things are you struggling with? And what do you want to do differently? Please subscribe and share and tell people about the channel, and let us be kindled together. Thank you for staying.